Hey Vegas, welcome back to Vegas Realty Check. This week we are going to be digging into the history of one of the most infamous properties in Las Vegas that was allegedly mob owned. So we're going to get into details on that and the history behind it, as well as your market numbers and rate updates. So stay tuned for the rest of the show. Welcome back. Let's dig into our market numbers for the week. So single family homes on the market, we are at 5338. Those are only up by 6.
And condos and townhomes are down 14. There's not a ton of movement right now, but we're sitting right at 2155. So I think people are still getting back from spring break and things are kind of ramping back up. It doesn't look like much has changed since last week.
Yeah. And new listings, those are 1,117. So those are only 20 less than last week.
And we're definitely seeing a little bit of price decreases, 960, which is 75 less from last week.
Yeah. Our under contracts and solds are up a bit. Under contract is at 951, which is 79 higher than it was the week before. And sold numbers are looking really strong.
Absolutely. And some housing information. KB Homes, we're definitely still seeing a lot of new construction going up here in the Valley. They just announced that they bought a few plots of land in Summerlin. So I don't know where, but clearly they found it somewhere. And they're also adding 1,700 new homes in North Las Vegas.
Yeah, Summerlin is, they keep on saying that they've sold the last plot of land, that there's no more land to build in Summerlin, and then these developers keep coming up with new projects. So they're getting the land from somewhere. I think BLM owns a lot of land around that area, so I think that they're selling it. They're negotiating deals. Something's happening over there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anywhere there was dirt around here is pretty much being built up, especially in the last 5 years. So if you've been here 5-10 years, you're seeing the growth. It is happening and it's continuous.
Yeah. So where are rates looking this week?
So rates are holding somewhat steady. We don't know what's going to happen in the near future. Clearly, if you're around, if you've heard anything on the news, the tariffs have definitely sparked some change for sure in the stock market.
Yeah.
That was pretty relevant yesterday, and you were hearing a lot of people talking about that. So rates, we thought were going to move even more. We weren't sure which way. They were sitting right at about a national average for a conventional 30-year to 6.7. I just got an update. They went down to about a 6.6.
Okay.
So they trended down a little bit. Typically, when the stock market isn't doing great, it affects the bond market and it lowers the interest rates. So we're hoping, that continues to trend down, but also we want the stock market to be healthy as well. So we'll keep an eye on that for you and give you an update next week. If there's any immediate changes in the next few days, there definitely might be. We are sitting in the high 5s, even closer to your 5.75s, 5.8s on an FHA 30 years. So really, really great to see it trending down. But obviously, there's a lot of other stuff going on right now as well.
Yeah, a lot of things factor into it. And, markets move. So
absolutely,
we'll see how it goes. What about, you have some tips on how to get lower rates?
Yeah, so some tips on how to get lower rates this week. The first thing is very obvious, improve your credit score.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a lot of things you can do, improve your credit score and really keep your card utilization down as far as any type of debts.
Okay. All right. Yeah, those are all good tips. So having a better credit score gets you a better rate.
Correct. Also, the more money you put down, the lower the risk for a lender, which also affects the interest rates. The lower the loan amount, the lower the interest rate. So if you're putting 20% down or more, that's kind of going to be the sweet spot to really get your interest rate down.
Okay, great. That's a good tip too. Do you have any other tips?
Let's see. Another one is consider a shorter term. So not everyone is going to look at a 15-year, but if it's something that's doable, typically the rate's going to be a decent amount lower on a 15-year versus a 30-year, but the payment's also higher. So it has to be something that's really comfortable for you. And we can also look at those options if you're interested in getting a loan and compare the two.
Okay. That's good too. So like 15-year mortgages.
Correct.
Yeah. They have better rates than a 30-year.
Correct. And a lot more is going to principal versus interest. So something that's doable as far as a payment, we can also look at that.
Yeah. That can pay your mortgage off faster too. So that's always a good thing.
Yep, absolutely. And make sure when you're looking at buying or getting into a home, getting a home in general, you have some type of savings or reserves.
Yeah.
So we typically look at that as well.
So that affects your rate?
No, it doesn't affect your rate, but the more money you have in savings, the more things you can show, the better off it's going to look when we're
overall.
Correct.
Okay.
So debt to income is definitely going to play a big role in credit score.
Okay. All right. That's good tips. Thank you.
Yeah.
When we come back, we are going to be talking about a historical home here in Las Vegas Country Club, and ties to an alleged mobster. So we'll get into that. Stay tuned.
Hey Vegas! Celebrate every day in style at the Composer's Room. From live music to comedy shows, we've got entertainment that'll give you that Las Vegas vibe. Our tavern serves the best drinks in Vegas. Whether you're a cocktail connoisseur or a beer buff, our bartenders got you covered. And let's not forget about the food. Our culinary delights are sure to tantalize your taste buds. Come for the entertainment and stay for the food. Reserve your visit to the Composer's Room today and start celebrating Las Vegas our way.
Welcome back, Vegas. We are, this segment of our show, we're going to dive into some Vegas history. And one of my favorite parts of Vegas history is all of our mob ties, because this city has a lot of mob ties. And I don't know, you've been in Vegas for quite some time. I grew up here. My mom also grew up here. She was born and raised in Las Vegas. And my mom used to, she died when I was young, but she used to always talk very fondly about mobsters. Whenever like something would go wrong, or like there was like some kind of crime on the news or something like that, she'd say, that wouldn't happen if the mob was still here. So I think I had a different perception of them as a child until I, when I got older and figured out, learned what was behind this. I was like, oh my gosh, what was going on? So I find it very fascinating.
I think if you've been here, I've been here about 30 years, but I know I have friends who their grandparents grew up here, and they'll talk about all the history of being in the casinos and all the crazy stuff that would happen, and them taking people in the back and not seeing them again. So it was a real thing, and it did exist. And if you worked in a casino in the 70s, 80s, you absolutely saw things. And
Yeah, no, it's real. It's there. And so tying it into real estate, well, first off, there's a movie that came out in 1995 called Casino. Robert De Niro was the star of it. He played Sam, and he had his wife Ginger. That was actually based on a true story. It was, based out of here in Las Vegas, and was based off of a true story of an alleged mobster named Frank Rosenthal. Have you seen the movie?
Yes, I have. That's like a classic.
It is a classic.
I haven't seen it in a minute, though. It's probably been a few years since I've rewatched it, but such a great movie.
Yeah. It was. It was a very great, very interesting movie, and based off of a lot of factual data. So one of the things is Las Vegas Country Club, which is a country club. It's one of the oldest standing country clubs in Las Vegas. It is a members-only club. So you can't just drive through there and look around. So
it's the one right in the middle of town, like off Maryland Park somewhere.
Vegas Valley Drive, right across from Sunrise Hospital is where it's a guard-gated community. So in 2020, they added an exact replica of a plane in the lake, of an FBI plane that crash landed there in the lake. So if you watch the movie Casino, at the end of the movie, the FBI was surveillancing him, and they were like hovering around, sitting outside with Joe Pesci. They're talking, doing stuff, and this plane's just hovering around out there. And then they ran out of gas, and they crash landed into the lake. Well, that was a true story. That actually factually happened, except for the FBI says that official reports say that they were doing a training exercise. I don't believe that.
So it was the lake there.
It was Las Vegas Country Club.
I love it.
So Las Vegas Country Club, in 2020, they added an exact replica of that plane to the lake. It's there today. I had a listing there a few months ago, and I had to just go look at the plane because I was like, oh, so cool. So that is there. And inside of the country club, on the wall, they have a memorabilia photo of this plane, the actual plane crash landing and everything there. And there's a plaque in front of the replica right outside, it's on the 10th hole, which was right next to Frank Rosenthal's house. There's a plaque out there that has eyewitness accounts of what happened or what they saw during this event.
I love it. I think, too, it's interesting because the mob did essentially used to run Las Vegas, but if you live here, it's almost like the mob is idolized.
Yeah. No, it is.
It totally is.
My mom used to talk very fondly about the mob. And for some reason, later on when in 1995, when the movie Casino came out, I was thinking this was so long ago. That plane crash happened in 1981. That was not that long.
No, that really wasn't.
A kind of recent history. So going into the house, Frank Rosenthal's house. So Frank Rosenthal was the character that Robert De Niro played in the movie was Sam Rothstein, I think.
Yeah.
So it's based off Frank Rosenthal. That's the true story that the character is based on. His house was located at 972 Vegas Valley Drive. That house sold in 2020 for $835,000.
What an awesome piece of real estate to own.
I know. What an awesome, how awesome to be the listing agent on that. Well, the house is 3,266 square foot, soundproof insulation. It has bulletproof doors and windows. It has original smoked glass mirrors, which they say are likely from the Stardust Casino, which is no longer around.
Bulletproof doors and windows?
Bulletproof. I mean, he's a mobster.
So is it?
Have bulletproof doors and windows.
Is it still like that?
Yes. So I looked at the history. The home sold like 4 or 5 times and looked at the description on every time that it sold and the photos. And it looks like, thank goodness, everybody has preserved it. And there's more. There's more about preservation I'm going to get into. It has a floating staircase inside the house, which is just beautiful. This beautiful wooden staircase. Gold leaf ceiling in the dining room.
I love that.
Yes.
So they kept the old architecture, like the design inside as well.
Absolutely. And they even, on the cells, the different cells that transferred through history, I can look at the descriptions and the agent notes and everything. They've also kept some of the original artwork, which looks like it's remained through every
I love
cell,
that. That's so cool.
Amazing. I'm sure it adds to the value of the home.
It's a historic landmark.
Yeah.
So keeping it the way it looked is so important. And, especially the integrity of the inside is what makes the home what it is.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Absolutely. I love that.
Yeah, I love that too. And it's looking at the photos of it, it just has that look, that like old Vegas mob look inside of it. It's really cool. It was made of commercial grade construction, has steel framing.
Wow.
So this house is not going nowhere. It is solid. My favorite part though, my absolute favorite part, there are 6 closets in the main bedroom.
6 closets.
6 closets. So Frank Rosenthal is said, it's rumored that he owned at least 200 pairs of pants.
Wow.
Yeah. So you need a lot of closets. And one of those closets was temperature controlled for his wife, who played Ginger in the movie, but her real name was Geraldine. One of them was temperature controlled for her furs.
I love it.
Can you? Oh my gosh! I just
Back east, you used to see houses built with a fur room essentially, because I think everything has to be maintained at like a certain temperature to keep them the way they're supposed to be kept. And so here, obviously, you don't see that, but that's awesome to see that out here.
yeah. There you there it is. It is there, and so the one of the other features of the house, talking about preservation. There's a bullet hole in one of the windows.
Nice.
That has been preserved and kept through every cell and mentioned in the listing. So
What does it say in the listing? A bullet hole in the window?
It says preserved bullet hole.
That's a very different and unique feature.
I mean, I don't know if they framed it.
That is so funny.
It's a unique feature. Absolutely a unique feature. So, yeah, I thought that was amazing. And preserved bullet hole chip in the glass. So some other fun facts about this whole history and story. Have you ever been to Tony Roma's in East Las Vegas, Sahara?
I haven't gone to that exact one. They used to have one over in Henderson, but I know exactly where you're talking about.
If you come up Sahara, you're about to hit Las Vegas Boulevard right before the McDonald's right there.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So at the end of the movie Casino, we saw this, which was a real life event. It actually did happen. They just reenacted it in the movie. There was a time where Frank Rosenthal was leaving Tony Roma's and he got into his car and it blew up. There was a bomb placed under it. Apparently, he's just like he has bulletproof doors and windows on his house. He bomb-proofed his car.
Wow.
So he had a special metal plate that was underneath of it, just in case.
So he was totally fine?
Yeah, so he walked away alive from this car bombing, and that happened in that parking lot at Tony Roma's.
That is wild.
Is that wild?
It is.
I never knew that. I've been there lots of times, but just never knew that that was a real event, and it happened like right there.
They should turn that house into like a wedding venue, like where people can get married. Like the old mobster days, like get married here. That would be.
The funny thing about it is I've been in Las Vegas Country Club several times.
I've been in there as well.
One of the first. It's on the first street when you come in through the guard gate. It's just right there, but it looks from the street looks like just a regular house in a row amongst a bunch of houses.
But it holds so much history.
It holds so much history. The movie, the casino movie, the filming of the movie actually was not in that house though.
It was somewhere.
It was in another house that's not even in Las Vegas Country Club. It's located at 3515 Cochise Lane. No history of resale, so I couldn't see any photos of the inside or get any details of what it looks like inside. But I did drive by the outside and the front of the house, and definitely it's the same house because I remembered scenes from the movie that were outside in front of the house. So it is there, but that is, they did not film the movie at the original house that Frank Rosenthal.
It would probably be too much distraction, but at least, the house. Clearly, he wanted a house that was guard gated and you couldn't get into, and clearly people still found a way in to shoot at the window.
I know. I'm sure it was the FBI.
Absolutely. It was somebody.
I don't know. Can I say that without getting in trouble?
And you've been to the Mom Museum?
Yes, I have been there.
I always tell people too, if you're coming here or you've lived here, go to the Mob Museum. It's just so cool to see. It's so much interesting history, and they have like a little bar downstairs in the basement part. It's just really fascinating, all the things that used to go on here.
I know.
They probably still do. We just don't hear about it as much.
I know. I just feel like they cleaned up their act and put a next business front on it. But I think they're still around. I don't know. But so you had some interesting details about the funding.
So I was researching some things as far as loans and things. So what most people don't know is a lot of the casinos here, most of them, not all of them, have been, torn down. But so the Flamingo, which is still standing, the Sahara, which is still standing, a couple of the other ones like the New Frontier and the Sands, which have, now been torn down, were all funded through crime organization. So from anything that had to do with money from the mob. So a lot of the development of Las Vegas, some of it still standing, some of it not, was literally from mob funding.
Wow. So Vegas was just built on mob funding.
And the Flamingo still stands as well as the Sahara. So when you're in there, just know that that's how it got its start. And a lot of the money was what we call skimming. So a lot of the money was never accounted for that was made through the casino from gambling and things like that. And it was actually sent back to the mob bosses.
Yeah, in New York.
Yep. So they weren't claiming a lot of their money, which is no surprise, but a lot of it was what we call skimming or skimmed, and then it was taken and sent back to wherever the mob boss was. So it just magically wasn't accounted for.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. And I heard like stories, and I didn't really research this, but stories about like the mob actually would do a lot of like private lending things, like play mortgage broker in some cases.
And I think, a lot of the money wasn't necessarily accounted for the way it probably should have been. So how they got a lot of their loans, whether they got them properly funded or not, I think whoever was doing the loans either probably had inside ties with them or was probably scared to not give them the loans.
Yeah.
But a lot of, I guess if you've heard of the Teamsters Union, which is one of the oldest unions, funded in 1903, I guess some of the funds even came from the Teamsters Union.
Wow.
So I don't know if they were working in cahoots with them or who knows, but there was definitely a lot of strange things going on.
Well, that just puts like a whole new definition to high-risk lending.
Right? If you don't give me a loan, you're gonna disappear.
About risky loans or I don't know. Yeah, high-risk loans. That's a high-risk loan.
Absolutely. And then did you hear about the Black Book?
No.
So there was this thing known as the Black Book in Vegas where years ago they had a book and certain mobsters couldn't go into certain casinos, or vice versa. Other mobsters couldn't go into those casinos. So it was like the little black book of who could go where.
Oh, wow. Wow. Well, that has been some interesting information, and I hope you guys liked all the information we brought to you. And stay tuned as we tell you what's coming up next week and where to find us.
Hey, Vegas! Are you ready to kickstart 2025 with a bang? The Composer's Room is your go-to destination for Las Vegas entertainment. Every day is a celebration here. From live music to comedy shows to magic acts, the Composer's Room has the entertainment with the Las Vegas vibe. If you are feeling lucky, then try your hand at one of our hot video poker machines. Who knows, you may hit the jackpot. Are you feeling thirsty? Our tavern serves the best drinks in Vegas. Whether you are a cocktail connoisseur or a beer buff, our bartenders got you covered. And let's not forget about the food. Our culinary delights are guaranteed to entertain your taste buds. And what's more, we've been voted best restaurant with live music. Come for the entertainment and stay for the food. Start celebrating 2025 in style at the Composer's Room. Our Vegas, our way.
Thank you for tuning in to Vegas Realty Check. We are here every week on Hey Vegas TV, so make sure to tune in and watch us. Next week, we're going to be talking about the Real Estate Hall of Shame, which is, you ever seen a listing or something out there and you wondered what the heck is going on with it? So we're going to dig into those next week, so make sure you tune into our show. And Courtney, how do people get a hold of you if they want to reach you?
If you want to reach me, 702-416-6918. Call or text me anytime.
And Courtney does the lending, so she's where you get your money. And once you have that, you're ready to go shopping for a house. Or if you have a home you need to sell, give me a call at 702-308-2878. And I'm Trish Williams. Thank you for tuning in. Please follow, like, share, subscribe, download the Hey Vegas app, and we'll see you next week.